Well, actually, yeah, there were a couple things, but it really kind of landed for me when you said I need to make a decision. Um, and and I can tell that that's I remember we've talked about when you have a situation, maybe writing down or going through internally the set of beliefs around it or thoughts around it that are causing some stress, and maybe pulling out the top handful as a good place to start. Certainly, I need to make a decision about this as a source of stress.
Okay, well, let's do it. So, good. So you need to make a decision about this. Is that true?
I know it's not. I know it's not true. But let me hold on. Let me take a second and just try to like answer from what you know like is that alive in me? Not just a mental response. I mean, yes, it is true in a feeling sense.
Yeah. Nice to look a little
It,
deeper and see what's still alive in you. Yeah, that's honest. Yeah. So, can you absolutely know it's true? You need to make a decision about this.
no, there's definitely room for the unknown, what I haven't seen yet, what may change.
Yeah. So how do you react? What happens when you think that you need to make a decision about this?
Just kind of tuning into like my body response first. I get a little charged. Like when I hold that thought, I sort of tense up a little bit throughout my body. Not a lot, but a little. So there's a kind of a readiness, like maybe to bolt or something, almost a feeling of like, hey, it's time to run. Let's not linger here too long, like in a body sense. I feel my body respond like it wants to run somewhere, um, which is interesting. I have to make a decision now. I have to make a decision now. Yeah. Well, there's also yeah, there's something like a pressure, but it's a kind of yeah, it's a time pressure.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's like, okay, we have a deadline. No more time to reflect. So it's a certain flavor of stress that I'm well familiar with. And I'm not surprised that I'm seeing a flavor of stress that I'm familiar with in this process.
Yeah, yeah. That's the funny
Yeah.
thing about this is the same same mind here, new situation.
Yeah, exactly. Oh yeah, we're doing it again. Huh? Okay. Yeah. Yeah, I see that. That's interesting.
So I need to make a decision about this. How else do you react?
Make a decision about this. I need to make a decision. I just what keeps coming up for me is this no time thing, and it has a flavor of like I can't really think about it, which is it's funny. I know that when I'm in this situation or in other times, I do take time to think about it. But what's alive right now with that thought is I can't take anymore. I can't do this anymore, or I need to move on. I need to do something about it. Kind of you know, it's almost a need for action, really. But there's a little stress around that. Yeah. Um, Impatience. I'm impatient.
Hmm.
Uh,
And do you see any images from the past or future when you think you need to make a decision about this?
This the few flickers of past hurts around the situation, but they're pretty faint. I have a sense that I have something protective, kind of holding these things at arm's length.
Yeah.
But I'm remembering. I'm remembering. I'm getting faint flickers of, yeah, memories of hurts, but I don't feel them
Okay.
very strongly.
So, who would you be without the thought? You need to make a decision about this. Who would you be today?
Just hearing the question made my whole body relax. I mean, I don't know. I just know was, that's how I responded.
Yeah.
That was the response. I went, ah.
Yeah. In a way, that's
So,
all you need to know, right?
so who am I? I'm, ah.
Yes.
That's who I am.
Better than any words. Yes.
And then a bit of a laugh.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So that experience, as always, shows how the thought affects you. I need to make a decision. Tense. Without the thought, ah. So
Fairly
experience out of
immediate.
an immediate. It's just all we did was look. Imagine who would you be without the thought, and without any details, it was clearer. Without the thought, I need to make a decision. Easier. So turn the
Quite
thought
a
away.
few thoughts around. Oh, sorry to speak over you. Just immediate, like, oh no, I totally don't. I mean, because I literally don't. Without saying too much about the situation, I wouldn't need to make any choices for 2 weeks.
Right.
Like,
Right.
I just don't have to do that now. There's only just something that is unresolved around it, so that creates a nuisance maybe, or there can be a feeling of nuisance around that, but it's not pressing.
Yeah. So you've already moved right into a turnaround. Let's just go there. It's that the turnaround is
Okay.
I don't need to make a decision about this. Not for 2 weeks anyway. That's
I
a lot of
totally
time.
don't. I totally don't. Yeah. And even beyond that, I think, um I suppose that's just, I don't know how to say it, my kind of my logical or my mathematical mind going, just finding the absolute minimum. But honestly, it's quite more relaxed around that. It could be something that takes place over the course of months, really.
Mm, wow.
So, um, so the turnaround is I don't have to make a decision now. Um, what comes up for me is that, I very often notice in my life and my past. Of course, I'm only bringing my past into the present as what I've learned how things go. Uh, but you know, often decisions don't have to be made, and processes unfold on their own without any intervention.
Yeah.
Um,
I've experienced
I
that
may
too.
not need to make any decision here because who knows what the future will bring.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's a way of putting a lot of pressure on myself, but it may not be, there may be many factors still to be revealed that change and cause the whole thing to develop one way or the other. Um, yeah, that's it. So interesting. I want to make the decision, right? But maybe it's bigger than me. Maybe it's almost beyond me in a sense. Can be. Or maybe I'll just get clear after a little more time or a little more input.
Hmm. Some space around it. I actually know that this 2 week period that I mentioned is a time for reflection. So I'll just sort of add to the turnaround. Uh, I don't need to make a decision. Like I've got some time to sit with it, and it's really an ideal time to be honest,
Hmm.
because I have some distance from the situation during this time to see it in a new light.
Perfect. So maybe instead of the turnaround, instead of the statement, I need to make a decision about this, it's I need to take time or be reflective about this, allow time for reflection about this, um, and then see what happens instead of forcing the decision, right?
I
Yeah,
like that one. I like that one.
yeah, I like it
Maybe
too.
we can do that turnaround.
Yeah, I think we kind of are. So, any examples that would
Okay.
support you with that, support that turnaround? I need to take time for reflection about this rather than make a decision.
Well, the first thing is that that's my, I would just say that's my way. Like I'm strongly identified with taking time to make big decisions and reflect and consider all the angles. So the first thing is just that it's self-consistent.
Yeah, like the other way of forcing yourself to make a decision, it's almost stepping out of who you are, is what I'm hearing. Like that's not your way. But here,
That
taking
is
a more
correct.
reflective time and allowing yourself to really consider it and look at all the angles and come to a conclusion on your own sounds more in like more like your integrity there.
Yes. Yes, that's very true.
Sometimes I've had that experience where I was feeling like I needed to make a decision, and then I realized because people were pressuring me,
Mm.
and then I realized the only way I really can make a decision, the way I like to make a decision, is to have no time pressure and to just think about it internally myself, almost almost go away and just be with no influence for a while. Maybe I think about it in times where I'm not conversing with others. And and then it just I play over different things. It's the way my mind works. And then at some point I just kind of feel, okay, I'm going to go in this way. It may not be the best decision, but it's the closest I can see, and I'm willing to live with it, and it just lands, you know. But that takes time, and I used to really get messed up trying to do my decisions on a timetable for other people, and it just really it was hard. Yeah.
It sounds like a lot of time self-reflecting and learning to accept your own process. I can very strongly relate to that, to what you just said. And um, in the situation I'm in, as I have through no doing of my own, but just the unfolding of events, another a couple weeks to to do that. I'm recognizing how it's needed, and to what you said about, there's I don't want to get too far off the rails here, but just say, sometimes it doesn't really work well for me. I can't really hear what's going on inside if there's too many people around, like where I'm talking about it with them, or I'm in that with them in real time. I think that's part of the process, and that's certainly valuable. But I'm somewhat introverted, and I need that time, if we use that label, to get inside. So this is to that turnaround. That's just who I am in this life.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. And like if I'm really playing with the spirit of this, then even the 2 week deadline, like make sure I don't use that as a deadline. Just that like
It's
I
true.
need I
It's
need
true.
time to reflect. How long that's going to take, I don't know. But I just need to give myself that time.
Yeah, those are the yeah. I mean, we're describing an organic process which doesn't follow a mechanistic Okay, well, it ought to be done in 2 weeks. I mean, it takes what it takes. How long does it take to write a poem? You know, it's till
Exactly.
it's done.
Right.
How long does it take to make this decision? Once the decision has been made, that will be how long it took.
That's it. You can only know in
So,
retrospect.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So, wow, that's really, huh. This is fun. This session of the work has a bit of a different flavor. It's funny how when you're away for a while and you come back to something, how it can shift and even grow, how things can grow like without, kind of in the background. So,
Yeah.
um, are we still working with this turnaround, I guess?
If you see anything more, otherwise, then I think you've landed on some good points.
Yeah, I think what's most real for me right now, like I'm actually feeling a lot of loosening up around the whole thing. What's coming up for me is how valuable it is to do the work with all of you because I'm noticing some emotion around this. Yeah, if I try to do this by myself, I get lost in my own labyrinth, or I can, maybe not always, but
Yeah.
it's easier to do that. So, thank you so much. Actually, I had a bunch of things lined up to say, but I think now all I really just want to say is thank you, and I
Yeah. Thank
appreciate
you.
everyone.